Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Be Honest podcast. This is your host, Kinley. Today I have someone who screams gay in a good way, in a good way.
Great.
So, I had to have her on the pod. She's the queen of inclusive content, making sure everyone feels seen, loved, and safe. Plus, she and her wife bring the cutest couple vibes to your feed. She's also hilarious and smart. Your posts crack me up. I'm
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm always seeing your things pop up and I'm like, number one, it's hilarious, but number two, it's so relatable, you
Oh,
know?
thank you. That is my goal. So I'm very happy to hear that. I never want to be like an influencer who is so like out of touch and not funny and just like annoying.
You like think you're funny, but like you're not.
I'm literally always like I like panic delete stuff all the time. I'm like, is this just like funny to me? Like I'll show my wife and I'm like, are you gonna laugh? Like, will you laugh at this? Because if you won't, no one will.
You're like, if you're not gonna laugh, I need to delete it now.
Yeah, it's gotta go.
That's so funny. But yeah, so with over 300,000 followers on Instagram and more than 350 on TikTok, and you have a YouTube as well. I think that was like 30,000 in the 30,000s.
Yeah, it's my like forgotten child.
Hey, 30,000 is not forgotten.
Thank you. I mean, they probably feel forgotten. I don't use it ever. I feel like YouTube's hard. It's really hard.
Yeah, no, I get that. I get that. It's kind of hard to build an audience there because you have to just promote it all the time.
Yeah, and I feel like it's just one of those things that's like not as like I watch YouTube videos still, like if I'm like cooking or like do like getting ready, like I'm not a TV girl. I'll watch like YouTube. I like have always been like that growing up. But I feel like YouTube is so much less because we have like TikTok now and like it's like you can do more long form videos on there. YouTube is just like no one cares as much as they used to. So I'm like, do I put the time in for that or I don't know. My long story about why I don't post. I would find any excuse to be honest.
Well, I am a YouTube whore. I love YouTube. I as well watch YouTube all the time. I'm always watching Vlogmas, like especially
Hmm.
when it comes to like December, I'm always so pumped. I'm like, "Oh my God, people are going to start posting Vlogmas." Like I love it. And I think it's honestly like I don't know, especially if people have like an interesting life, they live in a cool place. It's like
Hmm.
I don't know. I just like watching it because it's like, oh,
Totally.
cool. Like they get to go to the beach every day. And like I'm in
Yeah.
Texas. I can't do that. You know what I mean? So,
Hmm.
how are we feeling about the election?
Oh God, I mean, it was obviously, I think before Biden dropped out, I was like feeling pretty hopeless. Like I was like, This is not like a great position for us to be in because he fucked up a lot during his presidency. Obviously, like it was just like a super polarizing election. And people felt really strongly, as they should, about a lot of things that he promised to do and didn't do. And so when he dropped out and Kamala stepped in, it was like a moment of being like, oh my God, like maybe we can actually do this. And I felt like Gen Z specifically, I'm a millennial, I'm an old woman. So, like the younger generations really decide what happens in the election. And the influence that Gen Z has is so important. And I think it's so obvious now too, like watching election results roll in, like if they decided to vote third party or they just it shows like what they mean what they say and they're passionate about what they choose. So watching Gen Z kind of come around to Kamala and feeling hopeful that maybe there was a chance that Trump wouldn't win was really, really awesome. And I think I just was in such a bubble on social media and in my life where I was like, I think we can actually do this. And um, going to bed that night, I went to bed early and I had the best night's sleep. In like, I was like, at like 8 o'clock, I finished watching. I was like, oh, we know the red wave's coming. Like, we know they're all going to vote in person. I'm not worried about it. And then when I woke up the next morning, I was like, actually so shook. Like, just devastated. I was sobbing. Like my wife literally woke up to me just sobbing in the bathroom because I was so shocked and like heartbroken. And you just feel, I mean, the feeling is so devastating and it's really easy to fall into like despair and not really knowing how to proceed. And as somebody who like posts, the importance of politics and the importance of our votes and our voices, it's hard to be that person on a day where so many people need to be inspired and told everything's going to be okay. And then you yourself, you're also like, I don't think everything's going to be okay, because not only did this monster win the election again after, and I really thought after so many things that he did that were so terrible over time, there was no possible way that these people could vote for this person again. I was like, after the Madison Square Garden route, like I was just like, there's just no way. There's just no way. And then you get to this point and you're just like, so much of America just does not give a fuck about each other, does not give a fuck about minorities or, any, like, it's just, they care. It just showed me that we are such a selfish fucking country who cares about money over like people's lives. And it's just like, I'm angry. Like, I'm angry, I'm hurt. There were so many people. Like, I do not have any Trump supporter friends. That is like one thing that like people know you're not gonna be in my life, like as a friend. And with family, obviously it's such a different thing. It's like a harder path to navigate with like our parents' generation and, like our, relatives, whatever, and how to navigate that. And I just lit anybody up that I knew. I was like, fuck you. You don't care about me. You don't care about me as a woman. You don't care about me as a lesbian. You don't care about my wife. Like, there was just so many things that I was angry. I'm still angry. It's just one of those things. It's like, now I hope I told everybody I know that voted for him, I hope you get exactly what you voted for. And like, we're just gonna have to see. I mean, it's devastating. Like, it's devastating for so many reasons. Like, we not only do we have him as a president, but we have a conservative court, we have conservative Congress. Like, it's just one thing after another that like there are no rules now. Like, the conservative party can do whatever the fuck they want, and it's just so scary. And now I'm at the point where I'm like, I'm angry, so I'm ready to turn this rage into like whatever I need to do to make sure that my community is protected and all other communities that I care about are protected. Any minority, immigrants, whoever it is, like women, it's so trans people. There's so many people that are scared right now, and I just want to be able to do whatever I can. Like, I'm ready to turn this rage into action, however we need to when it comes time.
Yeah. No, I feel the exact same way whenever you said, like, I did not think that there was hope. Like, I didn't think people were going to vote for Donald Trump after all of the things that he did. Like, sorry, my cat just jumped. There
You're
are
okay.
so many things that he did that I'm like, there is absolutely no way that people can look past that. And then if they can look past that, then there's a problem. Like,
Yeah.
we have
Being
a
able to
bigger,
justify those like behaviors is, I'm like, do you hear yourself? You are
yeah.
justifying sexual assault allegations. You're justifying an insurrection. Like, you're justifying so many things that are like so insane that we have to even like have that conversation, all for you to maybe potentially get a tax break that you're not even gonna get. Like, it's actually crazy to me. But yeah, it's hard when there's people in your life that you like expect to be who show you that they care about you as a queer person or a woman or whatever it is, and then vote against your interests or their own interests. Like, it's just, I mean, it sucks. Like, it's hard to see. It's hard to see where people are willing to like bend their own moral compass to for money, like for it's just
Yeah.
like sad. Like, it's a sad thing to look at. Like, what is, oh, you're good and kind and compassionate and empathetic until when? Like, until you like your pockets, because you want your pockets to get $10 deeper. Like, I don't know. It's a bummer. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of ways, that I think that the Harris campaign kind of dropped the ball for a lot of minorities, a lot of middle class Americans, where Trump kind of drove home to those people in his rallies or in his campaigning. I think that there's, it sucks because there are so many things that could have changed probably the outcome of the election if Biden had dropped out sooner, if, there's so many ifs, but like the thing that sucks is just like we're here now, and like this is what happens when like organizing isn't thought about and when it's an afterthought.
Yeah. No, I get it. No, I'm upset about it, but I feel like we just got to keep moving forward. I think I saw something about the Senate just passed that gay marriage is like protected or something.
Oh, I haven't seen that. Would love a headline like that in my feed.
It's that guy that's like gay news, and he
Oh,
like
yeah, yeah,
he posted it. So I mean, you never know how accurate it is, but
yeah.
yeah, I was like okay, I
We
like
can
that.
only hope. We can only hope.
So you're doing Vlogmas. So I kind of just want to know, like, what do your days look like when you do Vlogmas?
Yeah, so I'm doing it on TikTok. So it's a little bit different where I feel like as Vlogmas it's more
Oh,
of like a long form video. TikTok like is so different because it's you want to keep it under a certain amount of time to keep people's attention. The clips have to be cut a certain specific way to keep people's attention. But I don't know. I mean, for me, like my TikTok didn't gain a following from vlogs. So like for me, vlogging doesn't really perform that well, but I like it because it forces me to post a vlog every day and like deal with like flopping a little bit, even if like because I'm like if a video doesn't get a certain amount of views, I'm like I gotta delete this, like whatever. And now it's kind of just forcing me to like be like it doesn't matter how many views it gets or likes it gets or whatever it is, like just like let it exist. You created this, like you tried, you put in so much effort on this, like let it exist on the internet. If it doesn't do as well as the others, that doesn't mean it's a bad piece of content. It's just like what can you do now to like move on and like figure out how you can better it. So my days for Vlogmas are, I don't, I mean, I actually have been thinking about this a lot. I'm PMSing, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I, my life is boring. It just is. Like my wife and I have been together for going on 11 years now, and our life looks the same a lot. And I was like thinking about it the other day, like, oh, there are people on vlogs who live in like New York City or LA and are getting invited to events all the time and, hang out with other creators and their life is probably so much more interesting than mine. And I was like, but you know what? Like, I know that there's someone out there who wants to see a boring old lesbian couple who like lives their everyday life and is like comfortable and safe and like consistent. And so I'm like, for whoever that is out there who needs to see, that's
you're
what my
like
life is. And
you're
like
like
we both work from home. I don't like leave my apartment most days. Like I go, I work out, I come home and like that's my day.
yeah.
So I just try to make it somewhat interesting in whatever way I can. But for the most part, my life is boring, but I very much like it that way.
You know, I know or like earlier in like the episode I said like it's interesting following people that have like these extravagant lives,
Yeah.
but it's funny now that you like pointed out that like you don't have this extravagant life. I follow a good amount of people that like obviously they have a following. Like they have a following, but it is very simple. And I think I
Yeah.
love that. Like I think have you ever heard of Julia Havens and Hunter Havens? Have you ever heard of them?
Mm-mm. No, are they straight? I really don't follow a lot of straight people. No offense to the straights.
No
I
offense to
really don't.
heteros.
Yeah, but love y'all. You're killing it. You have enough of a representation out there. I'm not following you.
I mean, period. Honestly, that's a good point. I've been following them like since I was straight and I just loved them. Like they just seem
Yeah.
so wholesome. And they live in Nashville, so I mean that could be a fun place, but it's very simple.
Hmm.
They have a very simple life. They just go on walks. They have a little baby. Um I do understand. But I also, I mean, I follow you because obviously you're like queer representation, like you post a lot about it, like it's great, but I also like how you do, like you don't really post anything extravagant, and I think that's great.
Hmm.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like um, there are so many creators where like even I watch it and I'm like a foot into that world and I'm like, this doesn't like, and I think that's part of the allure, right? People want to watch things that they don't have in their own life. That's what's so like exciting to watch these like huge girls that like blow up, like Emily Keisler or whatever her name is, and
Mhm.
like Avery Woods, like whatever. They live these like crazy extravagant lives that happen because they blew up out of nowhere. And like it's just it feels after a certain point like I can't relate to this. Like I don't see myself in this content. I don't like I want my stuff to always feel relatable to whoever's watching it in whatever way it is, like life
No,
doesn't need to be
totally.
anything crazy.
Can we talk about how we need to stop making everyone famous, like the hawk Tuah
Yeah.
girl? Like I good for her. Like
No, truly
yeah,
jealous. Like
like
queen, you did it.
yeah, like she went from like 0 to like 100. But I don't know, I just feel like
I
there's
think
some
it's one of those things where it's like this is how easy it is for like straight white women to blow up on social media, and then you have like not even like it's easy. Like I'm a thin presenting white straight looking person, so like for me it's also not that hard. But like for like black creators, even black straight creators, black queer creators, black trans creators, like they have to work so much harder to be seen and like respected online. But a girl says hawk to it, which was not even a fucking funny joke, and blows up and has like people following her around with cameras for the rest of her life. Like it's actually so infuriating to me. And it's a weird thing to think about, like where the bar is for different groups of people and like what it takes for you to be like seen online, you know?
And it's like funny. I mean, it's kind of gross because it's like this girl makes like a sexual comment, and then of course it's like, oh my god, like that was amazing, like that was so funny, and it's just like, why? Like people thought it was so funny, and I was like,
Yeah.
I am I missing something? Like why is Hawk Tuah so like so funny? Like I
Yeah,
just
that's not my journey. Like that is not my sense of humor. I wish her the best. I'm so happy that she is seeing success if she is a good person, but
Mhm.
that I never even watched it. Like I was like, this begins and ends with the internet telling me what happened. Straight culture is wild, and like the things that help people blow up, like it's we're just not in the same game, you know? Like it's just not it's not fair in a lot
Yeah.
of the aspects, but it's just like a great example of like what is expected out of like what it takes for a straight person to blow up and what it takes for like queer people to like be seen and heard, or like, you know, any minority. It's and that's fucked.
It
Like
really is. I've literally
it is.
I've thought about like moving out of America.
Oh my God. That, I thought you were gonna say social media. I was like, been there, girl.
Like,
No, I always ask my wife, I'm like, I would just love to do a year anywhere else out of the country. But she is such a family girl. Like she's a like where we live in New Jersey, and like
yeah.
the Italians here in New Jersey are a breed, and they're just like the way that they are. Like ugh, I don't know if I could ever get her away from her family. Not that I would
Oh.
want to like remove her
No,
from her
yeah.
family, but like distance wise, like I don't know if she's got it in her.
Oh, well, I mean, y'all could move and then, of course, like visit.
You know what? I'll give you her number. You can explain it to her because we've had this conversation. I think she would. I think it's just hard for her to imagine just because like when we did get together, like I'm the one who moved. She's never moved away from her family, so she doesn't know like
No,
what it's
yeah,
like.
I get
Yeah,
it. I get it. I mean, yeah, it's like her little comfort bubble there. So, like,
for sure.
I totally get it. Okay, do you guys have any fun plans for Christmas? I know you just said her family's in New Jersey. So are y'all just staying there or are y'all doing something fun?
We do Christmas Eve and Christmas with her family, and then the day or two after Christmas, we'll fly to Ohio, where I'm from, and we'll do like a Christmas with my family. And then every year, my brothers and I've five older brothers, my brothers and like all their wives and girlfriends, and then Sarah and I and my niece and nephew, we all get a cabin together, and that started like when I wasn't allowed to bring Sarah around for the holidays. So my brothers were like, fuck it, like let's run a house and like we'll all spend that time together. And it's just been something we've kept ever since.
That is literally so your brothers did that so you could bring Sarah.
Yeah, yeah. My brothers have always been like really, really awesome about her and I. And yeah, so it's like one of those like it's a tradition that like we always know every year we have like this set time together. And like we all cook up like meals and like we all like have to bring like a matching shirt of some sort. So it's like it's fun. Like it's a cute tradition. I can't wait to like keep doing it as we all get older.
That is so amazing. Oh my God. Okay. We are definitely going to jump into your family in a little bit because I really want to ask you some questions about that. But right now, I just want to jump into where you grew up, where you went to high school, what you did in high school. Did you play sports? All that stuff.
So I grew up in Ohio. I'm
Mhm.
from like the Cleveland area. I went to high school at North Olmsted High School, if anybody's from there. And I was a cheerleader. When I was in middle school, I like tried basketball for like a season, and I don't think I like came off the bench once. And I was like, I'm just gonna go back to cheerleading. So I did cheerleading and gymnastics, and I did that my whole high school career. And yeah, I lived there and I went to like a local college by me until I got kicked out and I couldn't like afford to pay for my college out of my pocket anymore. So I just never went back to college, and thank God social media took over.
So when you say kicked out, you don't mean of the college, out of your
Of
family.
my parents' house.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
knew that.
not out of college.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
That
knew
would be
that. I just wanted to
crazy.
make yeah, I wanted to make sure that the listeners knew that you weren't
Yes.
getting kicked out
Yes.
of college. Okay. Period. I mean not period. That's sad. I'm so sorry. We'll get into that.
No, we are good.
Okay, so how did you know that you were gay? Like what was the moment that you were like, "Yep."
So I grew up really religious, like really, really religious. My parents were like super involved in the church. I went to church twice a week my entire life growing up, like
Wow.
Sundays and Wednesdays. And so I never really knew, like the only thing I had like known about like homosexuality is that it was wrong. So I don't think I ever like had a chance to like look inward at myself until I remember in like seventh grade, my one friend had a friend. And I remember like thinking to myself, like, why am I so interested in this girl's boobs? Like, this is not, I was like stalking her MySpace and I was like, this is MySpace because I'm old. I was like, this isn't normal. Like, I shouldn't be looking at this girl's like profile picture like this. And I
Like
remember
zooming in.
literally like, what? Like on my family computer, like double clicking the picture. Um, and I remember like looking at myself in my bedroom mirror that night, and being, am I gay? Like, no, I love Jesus. Like, there's just no way. So that was like the first moment. That was in like seventh grade, the first moment that I was like, okay. And then in ninth grade, I was at a cheerleading car wash and all my friends were like talking about me. And I had like the same group of friends like from like sixth grade to like graduation. And that group of friends was talking about me. And my like one best friend I like went up to and I was like, what are you guys all talking about? And she was like, everyone thinks you're gay. And I was like, I was taken aback. I was like, what do you mean everyone thinks I'm gay? And she was like, you don't like you don't like boys. Like you don't want to talk to boys, you don't want to kiss boys, like you just like stare a little bit at girls. Like, are you? And I was like, no, like no. I really did not think that I was. Like I just like did not know that it was a thing I could be.
No.
So then I didn't know. I didn't really like accept it and with myself until I was 20. And I had one boyfriend and I dated him starting when I was like 19 and he was like the perfect boy. Like if I was going to be with a boy, like it would he was actually, I mean, he was like 26, man. It would have been him.
Wait, you were 20 and he was 26.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe 25, 20. Yeah, I think he was 25 and 26.
Okay.
And he yeah, like I was like, if this is gonna work with anyone, it should be him. And I went on a vacation to Mexico and made out with a lesbian. And I was like, yeah, I'm gay. I came home and dumped him. I was like, this is it. I'm coming out now. And I knew. And then ever since then, I've been out.
You're like, I'm sorry, I made out with a girl and like I feel something completely different than what I feel with you.
No, literally, I came home. He picked me up from the airport, and I was like, I like made out with a girl on vacation, like trying to make it seem like it was like.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay, like he could tell I was acting weird about it. He was like, okay, like what do you mean you made out with a girl on vacation? And I just like tried to play it off. And for like 2 days, I hung out with him, and I was just like, not. I was done. Like I was like, didn't even want to look at him. And I told him I was like, I feel more for this girl that I met in one single day than I had been dating with him for a year. And I was like, I felt more in this kiss than I've ever felt with you ever. And I was just like, I don't know what this means. Like, I don't know what it means for you or me, but like, you are old and you're older than me and your life is so figured out. Like, I was a baby. Like, I was like, I don't even know who I am, clearly. So, like,
Yeah.
it's not fair to string you along. So, yeah, I broke up with him and then I turned Tinder on for girls and it's history ever since.
Period. So when you went to Mexico, sorry, I have to ask you more questions about this Mexico trip.
Sure.
So was it just like a friends trip or like were you with your family? Like what was this?
No, I went with one of my friends. Sorry, my other dog is in here now. It's just nonstop.
You're
Um,
okay.
yeah, so my one friend, I went with her and we were staying at like her family's like what are they called? Timeshares or whatever.
Yeah.
And this girl was there at the pool with her friend and this guy came up to me and asked if I was with them, like related to them, because he said that we like were built the same or whatever. I was like, guys are so fucking weird. But thank God he did that because I like went up to them when I had like a couple Long Islands later and I was like, this guy, I thought I was with you guys. And we like hung out the rest of the day and I had so many Long Islands, so like I don't even remember really a ton about it, but I do remember like making out with her. And I remember like it happening and ending and being like, like I remember feeling like I was like the whole world just stopped. Like the entire everything
Oh.
is different now. Like everything is different for me. And yeah, I got her number and I was just like, I'm obsessed with you. Like I literally, the first girl, like I was
Oh.
down so bad. Like it was embarrassing. Like I was actually so embarrassing. And I think back to it sometimes, even though it was like 12 years ago. And I'm like, I was like crashing out over this fucking girl, like who I met one time and like never will see again. Like it was actually mortifying.
Oh my
Um,
God.
yeah,
That is iconic. That's like an iconic story.
it was,
I
it
love that
felt iconic.
like you made out with a girl in Mexico and then that's how you figured out. Like that's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. She's a douche though, so that was terrible. She was horrible to me. Like had a girlfriend the whole time, didn't know. Like she just typical like bullshit like that. Yeah. So
It's funny. I feel like all, which I mean, this isn't like true with everyone, but I feel like it's super common that the first girlfriend or the first like girl that you show interest in, or like, you
it's
know,
terrible and will break your heart. Yeah.
yep, yep, it literally makes
Yeah.
you like terrified of life.
It made me insane. Like and I guess too because like I had always tried to talk to guys and like the guys in my high school would always be like, "You're not interested in anybody. Like you are the only girl that guys can't get to." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm so hard to get." No, I was just a lesbian. And then I like this was like my first experience like wanting someone who didn't want me back, and I was like, this sucks. Like this is so ass. Like liking girls sucks.
No, it really, I mean, yeah. I mean, I agree with that. Liking just being gay in general. It can be so
Oh,
difficult.
exhausting.
Whenever you broke up with the dude, did you literally say like I'm gay, or were you still trying to like closet it?
I didn't know. Like I really like in that moment was so confused. And I came home and I just said like I have feelings for this girl. Because her and I were texting and I was like I'm supposed to be hanging out with him, but I want to be texting this like strange girl from Minnesota. Like this is not good. So I knew I needed to break up with him because like our relationship like always felt like friends, he and I, and we would fight over stuff all the time because he loved me and like wanted to be with me and make things work, and I would just like pick fights over dumb shit, I think just like subconsciously trying to create problems. And I remember always thinking to myself like I hope he cheats on me, I hope he like does something so we can break up and like I don't have to be the one to do it because like I don't have an excuse right now. um so yeah, I got home and I was just like, I just have feelings for this girl, and he was like, so are you lesbian? And I was like, I don't know. Like I really have no idea. I've never experienced something like this before. And I identified at the time as bi for a little bit. And then like the more I like talked to girls or like experience things, I was like, yeah, no, pretty much I'm very gay.
You're like, get the wiener away from me.
Can't even, my friends always make fun of me. I literally can't be around men. I can't.
It's literally me. I get so disgusted so easily. It's so funny. It's like they can do something that's probably not like an ick, but for me, I'm like that
It's
was
just
gross.
like I don't like I always tell my straight friends, I'm like, there's just what do you talk to your husband about? Like there's just can be nothing that you guys discuss. Like I'm confused about you sitting on the couch together and like laughing. There's just no way it happens.
And it's funny that you say that because like I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, the relationship that I have with like my partner now, or just like with women in general, but especially my partner now, it's so much deeper than what I've ever had with men. Because like
Yeah.
before I dated men, like I dated a couple. I came out when I was in college. And so I was just exploring, experimenting, all that stuff. But now that I'm like with women, I'm with my partner, I think about it and I'm like, I don't even remember like me and like my boyfriends ever really like connecting, or like me genuinely enjoying being in their presence, or like I'm a little gamer, so the only thing that I could relate with those boys on is that I love to game. And like that
Yeah.
was
No,
it. And
totally. My boyfriend and I used to just smoke weed together. Like that's all we did. And like I was like, we literally were like, what? Like what? Like we weren't even like I don't
yeah.
know. It's so weird to think about. But you made me just think about like there was like one time where he was like changing in front of me. He was like, "Can you not look at me like that?" I was like, "Oh my bad." I was literally probably like,
Or you were like daydreaming about the girl's boobs.
"Yeah, I'm like anything else but this moment right now." It's so
That's
fucked up.
so funny. It's kind of sad to look back on, but I'm happy we're here now and we are
Oh,
who we are.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so when did you fully come out? And that means like if you came out to your friends first, like tell us that story, and then if whenever you came out to your parents, or when your parents found out, however that was, just tell us all.
Yeah, so I came home from Mexico, broke up with my ex, and I had told my best friend Megan, she was actually the matron of honor at my wedding. Like I told her, we both worked at Chili's at the time, and she was like, she was working, and I like came to see her, and I it was like I made out with this like girl in Mexico, and she was like, okay, like so like whatever. Like mind you, we're like 20 and 21 at the time. So like
Oh yeah.
getting hammered and doing stupid shit, like she was like, okay, yeah, whatever. Like and she was like, you're being really weird about it. Like, is that it? You just made out with her? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, okay. And then like a week later, I was like, I have feelings for her. She was like, I know. You've been acting fucking weird. Like, I know. She's like, I don't care. Like, who, whatever. And she really was like somebody who like made it feel so normalized. Like I was telling her that like I had cereal for breakfast. Like it was like nothing. Like she was like, okay.
That's very
And I just, yeah, I slowly told like a couple of my close friends. And again, at that time, like I didn't know what I was like identifying as. I was just like, I have feelings for this girl. And then later in like August, that was all in like May. In August, I had been out, like I'd been out to my friends for a while. I had gone to my first Pride, but this was all like I was still super in the closet. Like only my close friends knew. I didn't plan on telling my family because I knew that my parents wouldn't react well. And I had started talking to my wife, and my 21st birthday was coming up, and we had like plans to go. There's this place in Ohio called Put-in-Bay, and it's like an island on Lake Erie that's all bars, and that's like what everyone does for their 21st birthday in the summer. If you're like born in the summer, it's really fun. So we were going to stay there for the weekend, and I told her, I was like, we had been talking. Her and I started talking in the beginning of June. So, you know, lesbians, like we're long distance. I'm like FaceTime her every night. I'm like, you should come to my 21st birthday, but like if you come, we would have to act like friends. Like all my brothers are coming, and they obviously don't know. I was dumb as shit for that because she came and we got fucking lit, like so drunk, and I immediately put my tongue in her throat. Like, mind you, like we've been talking from like June to August on FaceTime every single day, and I've been waiting to see this girl like
yeah.
every single day. I'm like head over heels for her, and I think that she's gonna come see me, and I'm gonna act like we're just like besties. Like, no, I literally, all my brothers were like, what the fuck's going on? Like, you're making out with this girl in this pool? Like, what's happening? So we got home, and my one brother, like he has like a lot of anxiety, and my mom, the day after they had all left, like Sarah and my friend she came with, this is like a weird confusing story. So they left, and then that day my mom like sat my whole family down and told us she was diagnosed with breast cancer. And my one brother had a panic attack, and my dad like took him outside and was like, you know, talk me through your feelings, like what's going on. And he was like, mom has breast cancer and Katie's gay. And my dad was like, what? And like accidentally out of me. Like I've never held that against him. I know he didn't do it like maliciously. Like it is what it is.
Yeah,
So my parents asked me.
Panic attack.
Yeah, like I literally was like, whatever, it is what it is. Like honestly, he did me a favor because I don't know how long I would have tried to stay in the closet and whatever. So my parents asked me, I denied it. And then like a few weeks later, my mom like came into my room again and was just like, you know, if there's anything you need to tell me, like you can tell me. And I went to work and I was like, was she trying to like get me to like be honest? Like it felt like a really inviting conversation. So I texted her and I was like, you know, thanks for the conversation this morning. That girl that they said I was like kissing in Put-in-Bay, like is my girlfriend. Or like I'm seeing her. And she basically texted me back and told me not to come home. And then all my bags would be packed. And like texted all my brothers and I in a group chat and said that like not to let me in, that because all my brothers who lived on their own, they were like, she was like, don't let her in your house, like she's decided to follow like a life of sin, or I don't even know what the text exactly said. Thank God my brothers are awesome, and they literally all responded and were like, it's our house, like we will all do whatever we want, like we're all gonna take care of our sister, whatever. So I finished at work that day and I went to my brother's house. He texted me and was like, come here after work tonight, whatever. And I went there and stayed there for a couple of days. And my mom like texted me to come pick up my bags one day at a specific time. And I went and like all my shit was in trash bags outside. So I put it all in my car and went to my brother's, and she like shut my phone off. Like it was like all of these things. And that lasted for like 2 weeks. And then my brother had been talking to her, and she was like, cause my brother and his wife had like, they had just recently got married and bought this house, but it like wasn't that big. Like me living with them like was not like ideal. Like they were so nice for letting me stay there, but I knew like they were not like, you need to leave, but I didn't feel right staying there because like my shit, like I don't need to like put my shit on them.
Yeah.
So my brother was like, mom wants to like sit down and talk to you if you're willing. And I was like, okay, I'll hear what she has to say. And she basically like was like, you can move back in if you like pay rent, if you like don't bring your lifestyle in the house at all, you know, don't bring it up, don't talk about it, whatever. And like at the time I just like I was not I was young and dumb and like not saving money, and I was just like not expecting to have to take care of myself in that way. So I was like, yeah, I don't have any other option, like this is
yeah
this is all I could do. So yeah, I moved back into my parents' house for a year and 3 months. And then Sarah and I moved in together like a year and 3 months later. But like that whole year, like I would have to go visit Sarah every month. Um, and I was never allowed to bring her around. I wasn't like allowed to talk about my relationship. My parents and I fought all the time, or I would just avoid them. But yeah, it was awful.
I can't even imagine having to be in a house where it's not just people that don't agree with your lifestyle, it's your literal parents.
Yeah.
Like I can't even imagine that. And I'm so sorry you had to go through that. Like that makes me so sad, and I am so grateful that I have parents that reacted so well to mine. Like my mom had questions, but it was she was they were just so good. And like my sister is has always been a big advocate for me and just the community. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I it just really makes me sad that people are still having to deal with, and I'm not trying to talk bad about your parents, okay? I don't want to
Oh,
make that
no, no, no,
clear.
you're all good.
But it makes me sad that like these situations are still happening. Like,
Yeah.
but I know that was like a while ago, and you've told me your parents have come around, so like
Hmm.
that is something that's great. Um, so whenever you were in your like in the heat of it all, like what would you say were some ways that like you took care of yourself mentally?
Tumblr. I was like very, which is like probably not the smartest way to take care of yourself mentally, like it being like engrossed in the internet, but I didn't have any like queer friends and like I did, but like not like any lesbian friends or sapphic friends at all. And um I found a community on Tumblr. This is like back in like 2014. So like Tumblr was the it girl for the LGBTQ plus community.
Period.
And yeah, I like randomly had started posting about Sarah and I and like gaining followers. And I'd used Tumblr like all throughout high school, but like only I would just like throw pictures up, but I would never like say anything. And then I started sharing pictures of Sarah and I, and people were like, "Oh, is this your girlfriend?" And then people would like ask questions like, "Oh, when did you come out?" or whatever. And then like the more I shared, the more of a following I gained. And then I realized that there was like a whole community on there.
I was
And
I was just about to say you were like it's probably wasn't a good idea to be on Tumblr or however you said that, but I was thinking like I bet that was honestly the best place to be because social media
the
can
first
be
time I felt represented, like or like seen and like understood by other people.
exactly. You felt a sense of community.
Totally. Yeah. And yeah, I hadn't had that like where I lived. I grew up in like conservative Midwest Ohio. Like I
Yeah.
never had a community like that. So the more I posted, the more I realized that there were other people like experiencing what I experienced with my parents and long distance like I was going through with Sarah. So yeah, Tumblr was like a huge helping thing for me. And knowing that I think back then for me, once I gained a following on Tumblr, knowing that the shit that I went through was helping other people made it a lot less painful. Because it didn't feel so alone and B so like negative. Like I was like, if I can use this to help other people, which ultimately helped me, like it's worth it. You know what I mean? So yeah, it sucked, but it was that like Tumblr really saved me back then.
I remember Tumblr was like amazing. And like that was before I even came out. Like I was just on Tumblr cuz I remember Tumblr was like the sad app. At least
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
maybe that's like the side that I was on, but it was like all of these deep poems, like these cool like I don't know, pictures, like it was just a vibe. You know what I
yeah. There
mean?
were no rules. You could literally put anything up. Like it was like the black market of social media.
No, like seriously, it really was.
Yeah.
Um so you said that your brothers were obviously amazing. And you
Hmm.
had your bestie that was there with you. But who did you like mainly turn to during this time?
I would say definitely my best friend Megan. She like when I got kicked out, like she literally would show up at like at my brother's house and just like sit with me. There was like we talk about like when I got kicked out. And this was back when I was like a big pothead. And I remember like I had all of the trash bag. I had a 2013 Kia Rio, and I had all of my trash bags of like shit that my mom packed up in the back seat. And her and I were just like smoking a blunt, driving, listening to music, and just like giggling together. And I was like, this is like the worst moment of my life, but this person is making it so much less painful and making it feel like fun. Like I don't know, like there was just she really did bring like a lightness and joy to like when it felt like my life was falling apart, that like it wasn't so bad and that we would figure it out. And like that's something like in our we've been friends for so long now, like in our friendship where we've always talked about how like it's gone back and forth where like her life feels like it's falling apart and I help her piece it together, and then she does the same for me. It makes it feel like a lot less heavy.
Oh, best friends are like the best. They're
Truly, yeah, they earn that title.
Yeah, they do earn that title.
Yes.
Did your best friend ever question you on it? Like did not even
No.
like in a bad way, but did she have any questions?
I don't think so. I feel like I just said I think that like once I said it, she was like, yeah, you probably are. Like her, and then the girl who actually like my freshman year who called me out like was like, yeah, everyone thinks you're gay. Like, are you? Her and I are still best friends. She was also in my wedding, and like when I came out to her, she was like, dude, I know. I've been telling you since you were 14. Like I've known this since we were 12 that you were a lesbian. Like I'm glad you finally caught up. So like my friends, like it's because the only relationship they ever saw me in, like I called him by his last name. Like we were like bros. Like I didn't, they were like, yeah, dude, I'm glad you finally caught on.
That is so funny. How do you feel knowing that like the outside, like your friends knew before you even knowing? Like
I
how
think
does
it
that
makes me feel like valid. Like I'm like, okay, I couldn't see it because I think I had to deal with a lot of like internalized homophobia from like growing up in religion. Um, and like the fact like I think when I was first coming out, because I am so femme and I didn't see myself like represented at all, especially back in the Tumblr lesbian days, they all fucking looked the same and I was like, this is not me. And I remember being like, okay, well, like obviously this is something that's been like ingrained in me since like seventh grade when I looked at myself in the mirror, like having my friends be like, yeah, dude, we know. I was like, okay. So like it made me feel really seen and like validated in so many ways that like I needed that. Like I needed someone to be like, yes, we saw this in you a long time ago. Like this is who you are, you know?
That's great. Did you lose any friends during this time? Like whenever you came out, were there people that were like, bye, like I can't?
Yeah. I lost one of my best friends when I came out. And I think it was more of like, I don't know necessarily that it was like homophobia or like jealousy that like her and I spent so much time together. We had been best friends since first grade. And when I was falling like for Sarah, like my life was just so revolved around that. Um, and there was like no communication and such an odd jealousy that there was like, it fell apart really like fast. And like she like told my mom things about me and Sarah that like I didn't want my mom to know, and it was just like one of those things where I was like, okay, like this it like naturally like grew apart and we weren't friends. And now like we actually like last year she texted me and like apologized for like so much of what happened and was just like, I saw like pictures of your wedding and like I can't believe I wasn't a part of it. Like so like things always work out how they should, you know?
Do you think she reached out because she knows you're doing good? Like she knows, like she sees you popping on social media. She felt left out of the wedding. And this is not me talking bad. I'm just asking, just picking your brain.
No, we had like that happened in like 2014 and I like still like miss our friendship. Like we were literally best friends for since first grade, like
Yeah.
up until I was 20. And like her and I were together all the time. Like I like genuinely like I still miss our friendship and like everything that we had. And I think like once we didn't talk for like probably a year or two or maybe a little bit more. But then like out of nowhere, like I think she, like a memory popped up on like Time Hop or something, and like I either sent it to her, she sent it to me, and like it was just like we went on like sending stuff like that back and forth to each other, or just being like, oh, did you see this person from high school had a baby, or like whatever, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Um, and then finally like the apologies where we both were like, dude, that like this, you were like, she was my best friend. Like I will mourn that friendship for the rest of my life. I don't think it'll ever be able to go back to what it was, obviously. And like we're so much older now and our lives are so insanely different. Um, But yeah, I think that it just was like one of those things where she like finally felt like the courage to be able to be like, this was fucked up of me and I'm really sorry.
Yeah, I have a friend, same kind of situation, and she reached out to me and, apologized. And it's like, I mean, it was a different situation. So like my situation was like, thank you for the apology, but like,
Thanks, but no thanks.
yeah, like what's done is done. Like I appreciate
Yeah.
you finally acknowledging it after a couple years, but like why couldn't it have been acknowledged then?
Yeah,
You know?
totally. Yeah.
Um okay. Anyways, so going back to your parents, I really want to talk about that. So you said you and your parents, or your parents are back into your life.
Hmm.
So how how did that come about? Like, did you reach out to them? Did they reach out to you? Like,
So, so I came out in 2014. They kicked me out. I lived with them for a year and a half. I moved in with Sarah September of 2015. And I would try to like keep a relationship with my parents for like, I guess 2 years, 2017, I think I cut them off. Sorry, I like couldn't swallow. I don't know what the fuck just happened. Anyway, so, yeah, so I would like FaceTime my mom, and if my mom heard Sarah in the background, she would like hang up or like weird shit like that. I would go home for the holidays and she couldn't come. And I just felt like I was I wouldn't like I had worked so hard at being like out and proud and creating this life for myself that I was so proud of, and the work that I was doing online at that time on Tumblr and like whatever, I was like, this is like really special and important, and I would never let anybody dim me in my life. But I'm letting my parents do that, and that like doesn't feel right. Like I would not let any other friend get away with this shit, but like my mom can. Not, like, and I remember just being like, the more that happened, just being like, this doesn't feel right. Like this feels a lot like I'm meeting them more than halfway, and they're not even trying to meet me like somewhat. And I was like, okay, well maybe in a few years they'll come around. Like we just have to give them time. And time would pass and like nothing would change. And so I want to say it was Easter of 2017, maybe 2018. I think it was 2017. No, it was 2018, sorry. And I was at Sarah's parents, I remember, and I was sleeping in Sarah's like childhood bedroom, and I was like scrolling on something, and I had seen a link to a parent support group of queer kids. And it wasn't like one that was just like, you should support your queer kids. It was just like, we're parents of queer kids, like this is how we deal with it, whatever. So I sent it to my mom thinking like, okay, maybe there's people in here who feel the same way you do, and you can talk about it and like figure out like how to make this work for you. And she basically responded, was like, I'm not opening that. I'm not doing that. You're not gay. I know you're not gay. I would have known it your whole life, going on and just saying like really vile stuff to me. And I remember being like, you know what? I'm done. Like what am I doing where I'm like sitting here allowing these texts to come in and being like basically like verbally and emotionally abused and like invalidated for what? Like I've now been out for 5 years and nothing has changed. And that day I was like, don't ever text me again. Don't ever reach out to me again until you're ready to wholeheartedly accept not only me, but Sarah and I in our relationship. And if you cannot do that, I will literally never talk to you again. And I blocked her. And like, I think 2 days later, I changed my phone number and I blocked her on like all social media. Like, there was just no way. Like, I made it absolutely impossible for her to be able to reach out to me, and my dad as well. And it was like that for almost 5 years.
the fact that she was saying that you're not gay and she knows it, like,
She said, I think she was like, she also said something like that. I was like following like a path of the devil or something like that. And I was like, okay,
so like if I'm
sure. Like,
following the path of the devil, so be it. I'm happy.
yeah, yeah, right. Like, whatever.
and it
So
and it
yeah,
sucks because so many people that have these views about gay people, it all stems from religion.
yeah.
And it makes me so upset. It makes me so sad. And people wonder why the queer community is steering away from religion.
My mom and I had this conversation because she's still pretty religious, like literally a week ago. Like she was like, she's like obviously come around, like I can get more into that later, but she is still really religious. And she was like, I accept anyone now. Like I am willing to, like our church should accept anyone. I'm like, but mom, queer people are terrified of churches because of what churches have done to us for so long. And she's like, but I would never do that. And I'm like, but people, you might not, but everyone else you're around might. And like that, it's hard to know who is safe and who's not. Like the like religion and like organized religion, it's not welcoming to us. Like that's really scary for us to walk into.
Yeah, and it's funny. Me and my mom have this conversation all the time. Um, I also think religion is, I mean, it's obviously made up. I mean, I'm not bashing anyone that believes in religion. Go you, as long as you're a nice person and you're religious, then period, go off. But
Yeah.
I feel like religion was definitely made to just control people and to help them like navigate life and like have certain morals and stuff like that. Do you get what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say? Like I
Yeah.
I just think it's just a strange thing, and I understand like humans like they want to believe in something, like they feel the need to like have to believe in something. So like I understand
Yeah.
the people that are in religion, but I don't know, like it to me it's like I just take a step back and I'm like, why can't people, I don't know. It's just like, why can't people see it? Like, why can't people see that churches and religion can be so toxic? Like,
Yeah.
like it just doesn't make sense
Listen,
to me.
I grew up in that shit. I fucking get it.
Yeah,
But I feel like people who believe, like my mom, who is just so, it is her whole life, like
yeah,
her whole friend group, her whole person, like her hobbies, like they're all in the church. So like for someone who's so in it, it's so hard to see outside of it. Um, yeah, like you can't explain
yeah.
anything.
No,
It's
and
like,
yeah, and I get that. I totally get that. Like, if they were grown up to believe this, like, I understand it could be hard to like take a step back. But like, my mom is the perfect example. She grew up a super conservative Christian. She went to a church where they like set Barbies on fire to show that like a girl and a girl like that was like
yeah, that's what
big.
happens. Yeah.
Yeah. And she now, I don't know if she still identifies as a Christian, but she questions it. She questions religion and she's like, this
Yeah.
is like it's just weird. And so my mom's a good example to show that like even if you grew up super religious or just anyway, like you can still take a step back and
For sure.
reevaluate.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. It's funny. Like my mom obviously forced us all to go to church. And I don't think like any of us are, there's just seven kids. I don't think a single one of us are like religious.
Oh gosh, I bet your mom hates that.
Yeah, I don't even give a fuck. And she knows it. I'm like, bitch, don't pray at this table right now because I'm not bowing my head.
Oh my god, that literally reminds me. Sorry, I'll stop ranting after this. For Thanksgiving, we fed the homeless and we went to this church because my mom couldn't find a place that would feed the homeless that wasn't like associated with the church. And so my partner, she has her dad is gay, so he is also married to a man. And so
Hmm.
they aren't religious either. And her dad's wanted to be a part of my family's Thanksgiving, which was feeding the
Uh-huh.
homeless. And I wanted to make sure that her dad's knew it's a part of the church. I don't know what church this is. Like, I don't know, but I just wanted you guys to know
Yeah.
that, like, there may be some prayers, like, whatever.
Yeah.
We went and they were like extreme. And my mom felt so bad. And I thought about getting up and like just standing
Hmm.
outside whenever they were like in the middle of prayers. But I was like, I just need to, like, I'm here for a bigger reason. Like if he
Yeah.
wants to talk
Yeah.
about, whatever, like I can deal with it. And you know what I mean? But it was sad because her dad's like they felt super uncomfortable, and at one point they did have to step outside, and
Oh,
it's just sad. Yeah, and prayer was really like they worshiped for like 30 minutes before we even started
oh my
feeding the
God.
homeless.
I would have been
Yeah,
like, are we tired? Like, damn, we're supposed to be here doing something good.
I know. And it was kind of like, I know it was a church, but it's like, why can't we just focus on the homeless? Like, why do we have to have a worship, whatever
Yeah.
it's called? Like, why can't we? But anyways, I remember thinking like I was in the room and I was just like, I really feel weird right now. Like I really feel weird, and prayer is just weird to me. So that was my point, because you were like, my mom knows not to pray at this table or whatever.
Yeah, no, yeah, it is weird. It's very like I grew up Christian, and Christian is like a lot more relaxed than Catholicism. And my wife grew up Catholic, but her parents like are not religious at all. So like the only time she ever has to go to church is for like communions or like baptisms. And like now, like we go obviously because like we're married, whatever. But I'm like, this shit, Catholicism is culty and fucking weird. It is crazy. They all stand up and sit down at the same time and say shit and know what to say back. Like, it is so wild to me. Not that, like, Christianity's any better, but, like, it is crazy. Like, I'm like, you guys this is scary. Like, if I was, like, coming here from another world and, like, saw this, I'd be like, what the fuck is going on?
No, and
They swing a bell around and light, like, candles. It's fucking crazy.
yeah, I mean, it's kind of like with Christianity. I don't know if Catholicism, that's how you say it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, didn't want to butcher that. I don't know if Catholicism does the same thing, but Christianity, we like eat a piece of bread
Yeah, yeah.
and you
They
drink.
do, yeah. But you have to like you have to be blessed like by the like say a prayer by the what the fuck are they called? The Catholic priest
Oh.
beforehand, and like they have oil that you like rub on your forehead. It's fucking crazy.
No, like,
I sit down in the pew, I'm like, I'm not moving my ass. I do not deserve that stale cracker.
and it's weird because it's like the bread is like the flesh of
They
Jesus.
all
And
drink from the same wine cup also. I'm like, this is COVID just is still happening.
it's crazy to me that like I can see that and be like, are we not like, let's compare an act like a cult to like religion.
Yeah. No, I
99.
say this to my wife all the time, and she was like, I never thought about it, like, ever, because, like, it's what she, like, grew up and, like, saw on holidays and stuff, and now she's like, yeah, you're right, this is fucking weird.
Yeah, it's really weird. I really, yeah, it's, and I believe that like religion can be a good thing if
For
people
sure.
make it into a good thing. If they
I
don't,
think the issue is organized religion. It's like when people
yeah,
take it and make it, like, so much more than, like, I think believing in somebody and, like, praying to something can be so simple. Like, and that's, again, I grew up Christian, so, like, to me, I was taught that I could pray right to God. And, like,
yeah,
I didn't need to be in, like, a church or a confessional or whatever. So like there are certain things where it's like, okay, where did we end up with like all of these crazy shit, like practices that like are required to be able to do X, Y, and Z? You know what I mean?
that's
But
that's literally why I get so confused with religion. I'm like, I don't know. It's just I don't know. My brain, I don't fucking know. It's just
it's a
weird.
wild, and this is like no offense. Like if religion is your thing, good for you. I'm glad that you feel safe in the religion that you have, and like people do find safety in it and comfort and community, and that's amazing. But it is not for everyone, and it is not for me.
It's not for me either. Yep. Period. Okay, so sorry, we went off topic. So, how did you rekindle the relationship with your mom?
So I cut them off in 2018, I want to say, and then in like 2020, I want to say, my brothers would be like, "Mom asked if she could have your number," and I would be like, "No." And this started happening around like we got engaged, my wife and I, in 2019, and we got engaged. I proposed to her on in front of the Eiffel Tower, and it went viral, and we ended up being on Ellen, where she proposed back, which also went viral. So I think my mom saw that and like found out about that and knew that we were planning a wedding. And at the time, we were supposed to get married in 2021. This is like before COVID. And she knew my wedding was coming up, and I think that she like obviously like did not want to miss that, and like probably had FOMO and whatever. So I said like every time they asked, I would say I don't want her to reach out to me. I don't want her to have my number because I didn't want her to be reaching out for the wrong reasons. Like I don't want you to be reaching out to me just because you want to be a part of my wedding or you don't want to miss my wedding day. Like
Yeah.
I want you to reach out to me because you're ready to accept me and my relationship. So I just didn't feel right. Like it just every time I just knew in my gut that it wasn't the right time. So then we got married, everything was great, and in I want to summer of 2022, I want to say maybe 2022, 2023, I don't remember. 2020, I was turning 30. I'm 31 now. So the last summer, my uncle passed away, my dad's brother, and I'm like close to my cousins and stuff, so I knew I wanted to go home for the funeral. And I'm close to like all my aunts and stuff. And I was like, okay, like if obviously my dad is going to be there. But like for me, like I knew like I'll just keep my space and like I don't have to have a conversation with anybody. I don't want to have a conversation. So I went to the funeral and my parents like came up to me and I just basically was like, no, thank you. And my mom came up to me afterwards, me and Sarah, and was like, I would like to have a conversation with you guys while you're here in Ohio if you have the time. And I told her I would let her know. And that was the first time I'd seen them in like 5 years. And it was just like fucking wild. Like, first of all, they looked so much older. Like, I was like, this is so crazy and like emotionally like charged. Like, it was wild. And so we got in the car and Sarah was like, well, what do you want to do? And I was like, I don't want to talk to them. Like, I have nothing to fucking say to these people. And she was like, I think you
These
should.
people.
Yeah. And I am somebody like, I'm very emotional. And I I'm very stubborn and like when I get worked up, like I get angry and like I'm very like
Yeah.
this is what it is. And
Me
my
too.
wife sees things, she's very emotionally mature and I've always said this about her. Like she's very level-headed with most things and sees things in like a way I don't. And so she was like, I think we should do it. She was like, you wanted your parents in your life for so long and you have an opportunity now to know where they stand. Like, why would you not just have a conversation with them? Because then if it sucks, then you never have to wonder what would happen if we tried now. And if it's great, then great. You see what happens if it works out and they want to accept you. Like there's this way you have an answer at either way.
It's okay. It's faint. I can barely hear it.
Okay. They're like right by the steps. Sorry, they must be leaving. So,
It's okay.
um, so I was like, okay, because I had not thought about that. And I was just like, fuck those people, no.
Yeah.
And my wife was like, let's calm down a little bit. Like, obviously you're angry and you have every right to be, and like that's really hard for you emotionally. But like, as like your partner, this is what I think would be best because it also affects her.
Mhm.
Because she's the one who has to pick up the pieces when I'm the one that's like at home crying because my parents aren't in my life. So, I texted my mom. I like unlocked her, texted her, and I was like, okay, here's like our Airbnb address. Like we'll be there from like this time to this time if you want to like come talk to us. So they came over, and at first, like it was both kind of like my mom is a lot like me, where we're both just like stubborn and hard headed, and it was both kind of just like neither of us wanted to like let our wall down to be like everything has sucked.
But
And
it's
then
also
Sarah
like
was
it's not your job to put your wall down in that
And I said
moment.
that. No, and I was like, I have nothing to say or apologize for. So you're the one who wanted to have this conversation. Go ahead and sit down and you can say what you so badly needed to say to us
Hmm.
that you had to come up to me at a fucking funeral. That's not about you.
Yeah.
And she basically just started talking, and her and my dad was like, well, I would do anything to have you in our lives again, like whatever. And I told them, like in that conversation, I was like, the only way that I would let even you be somewhat a part of our life is if you were willing to wholeheartedly accept Sarah and I and like our relationship, and not just us but like us as queer women. Like I don't need more people in our lives. Like I said, I was like, I've made no room in my life for people who don't love us unconditionally. So if you're gonna have weird things on it, if you're not gonna accept us, like I don't want to be back in your life just because you want me back in your life. Like you have to be like put in the work. And basically, yeah, they were like, we love you guys and we're willing to do whatever you need and say whatever you need for to be back in your life. And they apologized for like everything that had happened in the past and like promised to like move forward in like the most healthy and like unaccepting or accepting ones
Yeah.
that they could. So the conversation was good. And we ended up actually getting stuck in Ohio. We were supposed to leave the next day, and our flight ended up getting canceled. And we didn't have another Airbnb, so my mom was like, she knew we were flying out the next day, and was like, "Oh, safe flights home. Thank you for meeting with us." And I texted her back, and I was like, "Oh, our flight got canceled. Actually, we have to leave our Airbnb in a couple hours." And she was like, "Well, just come here." And I was like, "Is this like too much at once?" Because like the way we ended the conversation was just like, "We'll see what happens." Like whatever. So we went to my parents and like got breakfast with like my brothers and my parents, and it felt like really easy and normal. And I think it was really good. We like spent the day with them, and it kind of showed me like what it could be like if things like continued to go well. And things did continue to go well. They ended up coming for my 30th birthday that year and spending like the weekend with all of our friends and like meeting like everyone that we live near and like spending time by our apartment, and it was just like really special. And ever since then, like now, like Sarah's parents come with us every Thanksgiving to my parents, and like we all spend the weekend together, and it's really special and cute. And like the bond has been really cool to see. Like they love, I swear to God, my mom likes Sarah more than she likes me.
I know.
That's like not even a joke.
I saw that video that you posted of, I think it was during Thanksgiving, or it was something
Oh,
where it was that audio where it's like,
yeah. And that shit went right to her head. Now she's like, how many views do I have now? I'm like, enough. You're never going to be in another TikTok again.
so funny. No, that's I love to see the growth. Literally,
Yeah,
like,
it's really cool.
do you think, like, I mean, you guys not seeing each other for 5 years gave your parents time to really evaluate themselves and their actions, but do you think, like, do you think a part of you like still like finds it hard to like completely trust and like be present? Not like present as in like talking to them, but just like mentally, I guess trust. I guess that's the word, that they are like fully accepting of you. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
No. And I think because I told them at that initial conversation, if they did a single thing to upset Sarah or me, or like anything to make us feel like things were off, or
Yeah.
just like I was like, I've done it before, and I promise you with swiftness, I will do it again. Like I don't care. I'm like a professional. Like if somebody pisses me off in any way and I feel like I've been disrespected, like I will block someone so fast. And I was like, if I've done this once, I'll do it again. So like just know right now, like if you ever do anything to either of us, like I will do it again. And they know, obviously, like I've done it, so they believe me. And I think that now, like they're just too afraid for that to happen again. So I just have to hope and believe that like it is going to continue going well. I mean, it's been like 2 years now. And also like people are always like, how do you not like hold on to resentment? And I think for the whole 5 years that we weren't speaking in each other's lives, like all I wanted was for my parents to be in my life. And my mom apologized and my dad apologized for everything I wanted them to apologize for. So for me to harbor and hold on to resentment moving forward would just like hinder and hurt our relationship over time now. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like we're all in like a different place mentally, and like we learned a lot of lessons in those years apart that have helped us now have like a better relationship.
Oh, that is, I love, I just love it. I love it. You know, that was honestly one question I was going to ask you is how, like, do you have resentment? Because it's human. It's human to feel
Totally.
resentment towards, especially with how extreme your situation was. But I love the way that your outlook on it. That's great.
Thank you.
Um, so one reason why I honestly wanted you to be a guest on my podcast is because, like, obviously how passionate you are about the LGBTQIA plus community. Um, and I feel like you're just, the things you post, like, it's not just like for lesbians, it's for like the trans community, it's for you, just anyone that's a part of the LGBTQIA plus community, you know what I mean? So would you say like going through that experience with your family made you want to like, and maybe you've already said this, but be even more vocal and more of an advocate for the community, like on social media? Like, do you think that kind of,
Yeah, I mean, for me, like I knew, and when I was like originally sharing all of this on Tumblr, like back in 2014, like nobody talks about no at the like nobody was talking about like the sad like the sad parts about being queer, because being queer is so beautiful, and I feel so lucky to be a lesbian, and I feel so lucky to be a part of this community, and like a community so resilient and fun and whatever. But it comes like on the same like token of being a gay person, a queer person, like it's so hard in so many ways, and we face so much that like straight people would never understand. And I think being able to talk about that online and give people like a common ground to be like, this can happen to you and these things suck and it hurts, but you can still live like a super fulfilling life, without like, and I think what it was for me in talking about it with everyone is the emphasis on chosen family, and understanding that like queer people really rewrote the rules for what family looks like and what family means. And that to me was not like, this doesn't matter for just lesbians or just gay men or whatever it is. Like we all as a community like depend on our chosen family to keep us afloat. And that's kind of what I think started, you know, helping me talk about it, and then just understanding that like our community is nothing without trans people, our community is nothing without black trans women, and we would not be where we are today without them. So like being able to use my platform to give it to people who maybe don't have the same ability or like platform to talk to that many people, like it is an honor to me to be able to give it up, because I would never have the freedoms I have now if it wasn't for the Black trans women that like started this for us so long ago.
I want to talk about your wife. So you guys obviously got married, and you're okay. So you proposed in front of the Eiffel Tower, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then that went viral.
Mm-hmm.
Then you were on Ellen.
Mm-hmm.
So how, like, did Ellen see your post? Like, how did that happen?
Yeah. Yeah, so I tagged them in my post, and then the show reached out to me after it had gone super, super viral. And we did like a couple interviews, and they basically told me that we were flying out. Sorry, I'm like spinning a lot. So shout out to my fellow ADHD people. I'm spinning a lot. I'm like playing with this like thing. Sorry, I literally can't sit still.
So
So they told us they were flying us out to be on Ellen Tube. And basically, I was just under the impression that we were like doing an interview with one of her random like hosts, like not with her. And they tricked me. And yeah, they brought me out. They told me that they were going to give us like that we like there were extra seats in the audience if we wanted to sit down and watch the show before we filmed our thing. And I was like, hell fucking yeah, what? I've never seen a live show recording. And then my tweet popped up on the screen and they called us down. And then the rest is history. My wife absolutely slayed. I was so proud of her. She hates attention. She hates like all of that shit. And she took that microphone and I was like, dude, you literally sounded like a TV show host. Like I was shook by it. Yeah. And she proposed to me. It was
oh,
crazy.
you're like, babe, you kind of turned me on.
I First of all, I was like, when I proposed to her, I was like, how are you ever gonna top my proposal? Like I actually killed that. Like our proposal was like my proposal to her. Like I was like, this is stunning. Like you're never gonna be able to top this. I really don't tell you. Yeah, no, she shit on me so hard, but it was awesome. It was actually like life changing. That's one of like the most intense like life changing moments that I had, and I've never received so many like kind messages, and also messages from people who were like, this is the first time I've seen lesbians on TV, like happy and like persevering and like whatever. So there were a lot of like really, really cool things that came out of that were like absolutely unbelievable.
Oh, I probably would have blacked out if my partner proposed to me on Ellen.
I literally could not tell you what I said, I watched the clip now and I'm like, who is that woman? Like, I don't even know. It's really wild. It's like, and like it was so long ago now, like it was over 5 years ago. So like seeing it, like it just feels like we were children. I don't know. It's like very weird to think about, but
It's
yeah.
also so cool that you can look back and watch your wife or your wife now, but propose to you. Like you can watch
Yeah.
that. Like that's amazing. Like
Yeah, like a TV segment. It's fucking weird.
exactly. Okay, so I kind of want to touch on you with social media. Obviously you're do you like to consider yourself an influencer? I know some people hate that term.
No, I
You're
don't.
like, bitch, don't ever call me that again.
I don't. You know why? Because I just think that there are people who, I don't know. I see influencers and I don't feel like I'm a part of that. And like I've gone on like influencer brand trips and stuff, and I never feel like those people, because I don't want to be in front of a camera like giggling together and like what like there I just have never felt within that world. Um, I'm such a homebody. I don't want to go to events. I don't need to receive PR. Like I don't know. Like I don't when I use my platform, like I want to use my platform for like making a difference and like speaking out on things that matter to me and giving people a space where they're like, oh, this is where I feel like I'm represented. Like I never want to just use it to like, I don't know, like posting my outfits is fun and like sharing my hair stuff is fun, but like I don't ever want that to be like the main part of my platform. Like I want my platform to like do more than like make people be like want like compare themselves to me. You know what I mean? Because I feel like that's so common online to like see someone and be like, "Oh, I wish I looked like that. I wish I had that." Like I don't want that to be my page. I want my page to be like, "I can't wait to have this with my person one day," you know?
No, totally. I get what you're saying. You want it to feel genuine. Like you're
Yeah.
not like,
I want it to feel like a safe space. I don't want it to feel like,
yeah, you're
I don't
just
know,
posting for the
out of
views.
reach. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it. I totally get what you're saying. And I think that's honestly why people follow you. I mean, hello, probably. I mean, I would assume so.
I
That's why
hope
I followed.
so.
You're like that. I hope. Because I mean that is literally what you do, and that's literally why I followed you, and why I don't know. I feel like you're doing a good job at what you're trying to do. Be
Thank you.
genuine, post your genuine shit. So I think you're doing it.
Thank you.
So you're welcome. So you post a lot about the community and yourself, but you also post obviously you and your wife. So
Mhm.
what would you say are some pros and cons when posting your relationship online, especially a gay relationship, a lesbian
Mhm.
relationship?
Um, so I don't know. I feel like I'm like trying to think. I've honestly kept my relationship. Obviously, I share a lot of like pictures of Sarah and I, or I'll make her be in like a TikTok with me where she's like quoting the words, whatever. But like, I don't feel like I shared that much of her because she doesn't like social media and she
Yep.
doesn't like she doesn't post. Like she's like not. I don't know. She's just like I don't. It's not her job and it's not like she doesn't like it. She doesn't like to be behind cameras or in front of cameras, like whatever. So for me, like I've been really lucky in that way that we balance each other out really, really well. So like nothing that we've ever posted or done has felt forced or like she's never like kissed me on camera for views, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think I'm really appreciative of her for always like taking a step back and not wanting to be like, oh, I see that there's money here or views here or fame here, whatever it is, and trying to like get into that and make our relationship become something that it's just where it loses its authenticity. So for me, like I think I've kept enough of it offline where I don't really deal with too many cons. The worst part I think is homophobia from other people, but
Yeah.
there's never been an issue in my relationship because of what I'm posting on the internet. Because I also always ask her before I post something, and let her see stuff and I would never post something without her being like, yeah, that's fine, or no, I don't want to be, or I don't want to be in that, but I will be. You know what I mean? Like I don't want her to ever feel like that.
Yeah. No, I get you. That's sweet that you always run it past her. The videos that you guys do post, I feel like, and maybe they're not always like funny. Maybe you do post some serious ones, but they're always funny.
Because we're not serious people. We cannot like. There's no way. Like I always watch like couples do like skits or whatever that are like serious or like sexy, and I'm like Sarah and I could literally never do that. Like there is we are so unserious. There's just no fucking way. Like no,
Y'all should just
we gotta stick to what we know.
y'all should just like surprise the audience, like your audience, and just do like a sexual ass TikTok.
My wife
You're like,
would literally never ever like there's just no way. And but like I love that. Like we like when
yeah,
we always say like what our favorite thing in the world, we just laugh together all the time. Like that's
yeah,
just like humor and like being silly together is like a core part of our relationship. So like I love being able to share like that part with the internet. But everything else, nobody knows shit. Like they don't know literally shit about a relationship, and I love that. So there's nothing for them to cross a line about because they don't fucking know, you know?
yeah, yeah. No, I love that. I feel like you post the right amount of your relationship
Thank
online
you.
where people can't, like know things about you guys. You know what I mean? Because a
Yeah. Hmm.
relationship, I mean, everyone can, have their own boundaries in relationships. But like in my brain, like I'm the same way. Like, of course, I want to
Yeah.
post my partner, but I also don't want to post everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Keep it
Yeah.
private.
Totally.
So your little hobby is traveling and fitness.
Hmm.
So I want you to tell me your favorite place that you've traveled, the place that you felt the most safe, like as a queer woman,
Hmm. Hmm.
and then the worst place.
Okay. Favorite place that I've traveled. I loved Norway. It was one of the prettiest places I've ever seen. In Austria are like two of the prettiest places I've ever seen. They are two of the most beautiful. Switzerland, like I'm like a whore for like a place with like big cities where you can get the city vibe, but also in like 10 minutes be in like these insane mountains that you like cannot believe are real. So Austria, Norway, Switzerland, like all absolutely incredible. And then like tropical wise, we went to French Polynesia this year for our wedding anniversary, and Sarah and I both were like, this was like the craziest, most beautiful fucking place we've ever been in our life. And all of
Yeah,
those places we actually felt really safe in. Like Norway was so gay. We were there during like Arctic Pride because we were in the Arctic Circle, and it was like a really, really cool experience. Like it was buckets of snow falling and a pride parade happening. Like
I
it
love
was one
that.
of the most cool experiences that like I've ever gotten to like see. And Iceland was super safe. Like I like so safe. That was probably one of like as a woman and as a queer woman, like I felt really, really safe there. Amsterdam is really safe. Um, I mean, basically any big city, I feel like in those places are like Germany, Switzerland. I mean, luckily also too, like we are very privileged where we both look straight passing. So I think in those ways, I don't really think about people looking at us and us facing any type of like queer discrimination because if we want to be straight passing, like we just don't hold hands. But I think also just like being two women traveling on our own a lot, like we're very aware of our surroundings. So her and I are just like extra cautious even when we probably don't need to be, but like outside of that, like in Bora Bora and like Moorea and those places, like in French Polynesia, we were like very like PDA, never had a problem. Like they were so queer, and I've never seen so many queer people in a place working and like being within the community as well. That was really, really awesome. I love that.
That's crazy. I've heard that Bora Bora is amazing, but
Insane.
I didn't think that it was like a place where it was super accepting there. I don't know why.
I do remember reading in Polynesian culture, Two Spirit has existed for a very, very long time. So like they're very open to like a lot of different queer aspects. And it's just like been ingrained in their culture for a long time. So I think that like there are people who um, have like a different respect for it. And I could be wrong. I want to say I researched that when I was there, but yeah, just an
Okay.
absolutely beautiful place with like very, very beautiful, kind people.
Oh my God. I bet the water was amazing.
No, literally one of the most insane trips we've ever taken. Like the whole time Sarah literally still to this, like I swear to God, once a day she brings it up about how bad she wants to go back.
That's literally me. I went to Turks and Caicos. That's nothing like Bora
No,
Bora.
I love Turks and Caicos. That was like our second favorite tropical place.
So amazing. I went with my best
Stunning.
friend, so I didn't go with like my partner, but beautiful. I am like I talk about that probably once a day as well.
It's
And
it's stunning.
it's beautiful. And it's funny, my partner, she's because we're located in Texas, Austin. She's never been anywhere besides South Padre, which is in Texas. It's like the beach that's in Texas, and
Hmm.
it's like disgusting. The water's
Oh
disgusting.
man.
So she's never been to a beach that's beautiful, and we
You
just
have to
booked
take her
our
to a beach. Oh,
we
you
booked
booked something.
yeah. We just booked our trip to Curacao in
Oh, I've heard great things. I've never been there.
I know. I've heard great things too. My dad's been, and he said the water is literally like beautiful.
Stunning. Yeah,
And
my mom
so,
has been there. She really liked it. And like when I searched queer friendly like beach destinations, that came up.
yep, that's literally what I do whenever I look up destinations. I'm like, what is the safest Caribbean island, or
Yeah.
what is the But I'm so excited for her to see beautiful water finally, because she's a mountain girly, which is totally fine, and like I love
Yeah.
mountains, but I'm like, you haven't seen a beautiful beach, so just give it a
Just
second.
yeah, just wait and see maybe this will be your thing.
Yeah, this probably will be her thing. And then what was the worst place?
I'm trying to think of all the places we've been. I would say Jamaica, I definitely did not feel safe, which is just like obvious. Like it's very clear that they're like, I think being gay is like actually like a criminalized thing there. Our resort, we felt super safe. Like we were really lucky to stay at like a really nice resort who like would put rose petals in our bathtub, but like we were too afraid to leave the resort.
Oh,
Like any excursions or anything, just like God forbid.
yeah.
And like I didn't tag the location when I was posting on Instagram because I didn't want Jamaica to know I was there. I was like really afraid that I was gonna post and then I was gonna get like arrested going back through customs going home. I don't even know if that's like can happen, but
So,
yeah, I was scared. I was like they're gonna arrest me just for being a lesbian. Like I don't know. But I mean again, like we're really fortunate to be like straight passing. So like for us, like I've never been afraid because I feel like we could hide it if we needed to.
yeah, no, I get that. See, my partner is masculine. She
Hmm.
presents masculine, and so we probably wouldn't be able to pass as straight passing.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
There's certain places definitely where you're like, But then like I like posted on TikTok about that, and like there were other lesbians posting me like we had no issue like in X, Y, and Z, like in places that I thought maybe weren't as safe. Like in Italy, I felt like I was like not that safe, and people said I was being dramatic, and I was like, you're not going to tell me that my experience wasn't what it was. Like it was so gross. So I
Yeah,
don't know. I think it all just depends on where like and what parts of the countries that you're in.
totally. Yeah, like Texas sounds horrible, but if you come to Austin, a beautiful,
I
amazing
loved
cherry on top.
Austin.
Yeah, it's
The food was insane. I literally ate nonstop for like 5 days straight. It was wonderful. I had a great
yeah,
experience.
yeah. Austin. When did you go? When did you come?
My wife had a work trip there actually, and I'd never been to Texas, so I was like, I'll come. She was afraid it was her first time. Like she's not a good flyer, and she want to fly. She didn't want to fly alone. She was like, I'll pay for you to come if you come. And I was like, okay. So
Period.
I
Yeah.
went, and yeah, I think it was last April, and I was there for
Oh,
like 4 days, and it was all literally all I did was eat.
yeah. Austin is known for their food. Like
Incredible. Like I had all different types of food and it was all unbelievable.
amazing. No, literally amazing. Um, so I was gonna say something about Italy. Whenever you said you didn't really feel that safe, whenever you said you did not really feel that safe. Sorry, I'm talking really fast.
It's okay.
My mom also kind of mentioned that. I mean, she's with my dad, so like they're straight. But like she
Yeah.
also said that there were times whenever they really didn't feel safe. And I should like make sure that this is accurate. So for my listeners, if it's not accurate, okay, it's not accurate. But I think there was something that I read that said that like Italy just passed something where like gay couples weren't able to like adopt or some shit like that, and it just
They're
happened. Like,
they're a very homophobic country.
and I was like, what? Because I've heard Europe is very accepting, but
Europe is, I think the issue with Italy is that it's like a very religious country.
it's Catholic, right?
Yeah. But again, this is alleged.
Yeah.
Please, when I went back in 2022, because we went for our honeymoon, they were like it said it was like a not a safe place for a queer couple. So Sarah and I like did not act like a couple at all there because we were just like a little
Oh.
nervous. It's just like not worth it to us, you know?
Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, I've always wanted to go to Switzerland, and I've heard that's really accepting. So,
Super awesome. Yeah, Switzerland was really, really cool and just like beautiful.
oh, good, good. That's awesome. All right, I want to jump into your fitness. It was funny whenever we were planning on like a meeting, you were like, it just can't be in the morning because I have my routine. Like, I'm gonna go to the gym.
I'm like a psychopath about my routine, like
I love it.
actually insane. Yeah.
I love it. I mean, some people like move better when they have routines, and then there's some people that don't. So you're a routine girly. That's good.
I
So
am.
what does your routine like look like? Like during the week and the weekend?
Hmm. It's literally the same, regardless. I am. I like don't think I realized like when I was younger, and then like my frontal lobe developed, and I was like existing in chaos all the time. And I think I finally I kind of got myself in a routine, and I was like, wait a minute, I like feel like I need this. I did not realize how bad I needed structure. So yeah, I wake up at 5 every morning, and I know it's disgusting. I love it though. I love waking up before everyone else. And so I wake up at 5, I will like have coffee and I eat breakfast before I work out. And I go to the gym at like 7 and I work out, and that like recently I've been experimenting with other workouts, but primarily I do CrossFit. I've been doing it since 2021. And then I come home and I eat like a snack, and then I work for however long it is. Like as a person who's like a creator, it's like different every day. Some days like people who are creators who say their job is hard are lying sacks of shit. There are maybe like a week where you have like work every day, or maybe like 3 days during the week where you work every day, and then you'll have like 2 days where there's literally nothing to do. And I can't speak for everyone. Like I have a manager who handles like all of my like admin stuff. So like that obviously like saves me a lot of time. I don't have to like answer emails or work on contracts or think about
Yeah.
like invoicing or anything. But like I would say most creators also have that. And a lot of creators also have editors. So like our jobs are like not hard. So like you can really get like say you have a week, and you know like most of the time in the week like you know exactly like what is due that week. So you can literally work all day Monday, get everything done, and then like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, like you might just like not really have anything to do, or you have to just do the edits of what came through.
Yeah.
So it just depends. Like, or there'll be a week where like I have to travel or, you know, like whatever it is. It's honestly different all the time. But yeah, I wake up, my biggest thing is I wake up, go to the gym, and then if I do have work, I have to get it done early in the day, or like I'm a procrastinator. I'm like,
That's
I
how I
don't
am.
work well after, yeah, and like my brain like shuts down after 4 o'clock. Like I literally start to like go into do not disturb mode in my brain. So I have to get everything done like while my brain is fresh.
Are you the type of person where like if you have like a appointment at like 3 all during the day you're like,
Like this is, yeah,
okay,
yeah,
I'm the same way, and so many people say that comes from ADHD, and I'm like, I haven't been diagnosed, but like
yeah,
I think I think that would
yeah.
be
The math is mathing here,
the math is mathing.
probably.
Yes.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but that's funny. No, I'm the same way. If I have something to do, like I want to get it done. Like whenever
yeah.
I, do recordings and people are like, "Let's do it in the evening." I'm like, "Okay." I'm like,
No, and the
"Sure."
sun sets, and so do I. Like, I do not exist after 5 p.m. Like, there's just no way. So, like, for me, like, I have to do any work I have to do. Like, I know I need it to be done by like 5, so I'll try to get everything done in the morning, and then like I eat dinner at 5 o'clock, and I'm in bed by like 7:30.
Period. I love that for you. That's amazing.
It's honestly like this is what I mean. Like, I know my life is boring, but like it works, and I'm so much more efficient in that way. And I love going to bed early, and I love waking up early, and I love sleeping as much as I sleep.
I love that. I mean, if it works for you, it works for you. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a routine girly as well, but I obviously my routine is like work. Like I get up and I'm a teacher, so I have to go. And then
Yeah.
obviously editing this and like, emailing people, trying to figure things out, like that can like vary, but like I would say my routine is I need to get back on it, especially on the weekends. But, recording can be at any random time, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
so
yeah. You're at like other people's will with that because you have to like work with their schedules. Yeah,
exactly, which is fine. Like I'm like chilling, but
yeah,
so would you say you noticed any like mental benefits from working out?
definitely. I like worked out a bit. I started CrossFit in 2014. And then when Sarah and I moved in together, I stopped. And then her and I worked out together a lot. Like we didn't have any friends when we first moved. We moved to South Jersey, and our apartment complex was like next to a gym, and the gym was like $20 a month. It was a sick gym. And we had no friends. So we would literally go to the gym and just like work out together. We were fucking jacked. Like I think about like little 21 and 22-year-old us, and like we were like I didn't even realize at the time like how like strong we were. But then we moved and I never worked out again. And I was like one of those people where like once I'm like all or nothing. And like once I stopped, like I could not find the motivation to like get myself to go again. So I didn't work out from like I guess 2016 to like 2021. And the only reason I signed back up was because Sarah had been going to this CrossFit gym, which we still go to now. And they were doing, it was 2021, so they were doing like January. If you sign up, it was $21 for the new year. And like normally CrossFit, like my membership's like $180 a month. So I was like, $21 is like insane. Like, fuck yeah. So I was like, if I never go, $21 down the drain, like, is not bad. So I signed up and I ended up going, and I like was really sore and like I hated it at first, but I also loved feeling that movement in my body again, like the muscle memory kind of coming back and how I felt after the workout. And I'm like a very competitive person, so like the motivation of like competing against myself and getting stronger and like proving myself wrong was really awesome. So I just kept going and going, and yeah, I love it.
That's awesome. I love
But
that.
oh, the mental benefits. I didn't even fucking answer that. Yeah, so my bad. So I like definitely deal with a lot of anxiety, and like back when I was started working out, I was drinking a lot, and I definitely like had anxiety all the time, and I felt like going to the gym was the only way for me to like rid it out of my body. And like now I don't drink really anymore, but for me, being able to go and like get like anything built up in my body out in that workout and like getting that movement in and like starting my day with those like endorphins and like having that as a part of my routine has helped me so much. And like when I can't, like I was sick last week and I couldn't work out for like 5 days, and I literally felt like I was going insane. Like I was like, I need to move my body. Like even if it's just like a long walk outside with the dogs and Sarah, like the way that it helps me like decompress and like get rid of like any anxious energy within me, like Yeah, I love it. I really can't. It's more about like how it helps me than how I look.
Yeah. No, and I feel like so many people work out obviously for like the physical aspect of it, but
Yeah.
also like the mental aspect. Like I just had Alyssa Butt on my podcast,
Hmm.
and they were talking about how they were on some like anxiety medication, and this was on the podcast. I'm not like outing them.
Hmm.
And they said that they were able to get off the medicine and just start running, and they were like,
Hmm.
running was the replacement of, my medicine. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know, I do agree as well. It is such a good mental thing. Whenever I'm in the gym, it's, I don't know, I feel like I just start feeling more confident in myself, whether that's just
Totally.
like mentally or physically. Like it's just good.
Yeah.
It's just good.
Yeah. And that's like one thing, Sarah, like any day I'm like, "Oh, I don't feel like going today." She's like, "You always feel better after." Like even if you like if you really don't want to go, and like there are days where I'm like my body is saying no, like absolutely not. But then there are days if it's just me being like lazy and like not wanting to like get off the couch to be like, you always feel so much happier when you're done. And I always do. Like I get home and I'm like, thank God I did that. Like that was
Yeah.
so thank I feel so good. I'm so happy. And just like my thing again, like being as competitive as I am with myself, like knowing like I track like my like lifts and stuff. So like watching myself like get better was like such a huge thing for me. Um and like so motivating. And
Totally.
I like the internet and like I was I always talk about this with my wife because she was like an exercise science major and she's been in the fitness world for like
Mm.
a really long time. Yeah. And she's like, oh, I had a six pack for like the last 10 years. Like she's actually sickening. And I always talk to her about like the wellness like culture on social media. And that's like why I really never share a lot about my fitness. Like I'll share like a lift on my story or like a little bit here and there, but I don't share too much because there's so much toxicity in that world and so much of like it'll pop up on my free page. It'll be like how to get out of lifting arms and get Pilates arms and how to do this and that. And I'm like, why can't we all just like go to whatever makes us happy and like do whatever makes us happy and like not put labels on fucking everything because everybody's body is different. Like it drives me absolutely insane. And like people who are like, do this and you'll get abs in 6 weeks. Like you don't fucking know that. Like you can't say that because everyone's fucking bodies and genetics are different. And like
And
that's my rant.
no, I loved your rant. It could also be super discouraging for someone that is
Yes.
wanting to get into the gym, and they're seeing all this stuff and they're like, "Oh my fucking god, like where do I start? Like, oh my god, I need to do Pilates. Wait, no, they're telling me to do CrossFit." Oh,
Or they do the 6 weeks of the ab workout and don't have abs and are like, what the fuck's wrong with me? Nothing. This person probably is naturally 18 pounds. Like, there's just so much like misinformation like spread in that world. So like what I always just try to say is like literally if walking feels good to you, that is good enough. If going to the gym and working with dumbbells and coming out like with your own workout works best for you, that is enough. Like there's no like right or wrong way to move your body, and nobody's like no we're all not going to look the same doing the same thing. So it's always just I always just say like finding what works for you is like the most important thing that you can do.
yeah, and it can be hard figuring out what's the best for you,
Yeah.
but you just gotta figure it out.
Yeah.
Um,
For sure.
okay, so we're coming to the end. I do a fun little ick or turn on game. I know you're married, so answer this as well as you can.
Okay.
um, ick or turn on. We're just going in right now. Okay, we're just
Yeah,
going
go
full
ahead. Yeah,
throttle.
go for it.
Ick or turn on if they don't enjoy using toys in bed. Like they just don't want to.
I don't think it's like it's not like if they don't want to,
Yeah.
it's not like an ick because it's not like a necessity, but it's not like it's definitely not a turn on. Like I'm not like, yeah, fuck it. Like I just but it's not like,
Yeah. No,
like
I
I'm very middle of the line with that. Like we don't need them to make it work, but if you want it, then great.
okay. No, I mean, yeah, I get it. I mean, I feel like everyone's different. So I just had to ask
Yeah,
you.
there are people who are like, we don't need toys. Okay, like if you say you don't like fun, I don't know.
Say that you're vanilla. Okay, we get
Yeah, say that you're boring. I don't know.
No, exactly. Um, ick or turn on if they wear like long acrylic nails.
No, I feel like I don't. I will say, I am very. If their nails are not done, it is an ick for me. It doesn't. They don't have to be long,
Yeah.
but they have to be done. I cannot like for me like with a partner. I don't give a fuck if you don't want to. You're getting your nails done. Like
Like they
I
have to be
cannot. I
like colored or they just have to be like
yeah.
put together.
Yes. No, please put something on. I hate a bare nail. And I like tell my all my adult friends, I'm like, you are a woman who is 36, get your fucking nails painted.
Well, what happens like okay, for example, me, I'm calling you out real quick. I cut my nails. I mean, sorry. I bite my nails.
Oh
And
yeah.
and so like I can't
My wife is an ex nail biter. Gel nails, you don't bite them.
I know, I used to be there. I stopped biting mine and like they aren't
See, like you
bad.
know the answer. You know the answer.
Girl, it's
But
just
that's just me. Like I'm just like that for I don't know
no.
what it is. I just think there's something so attractive about like a nice hands, you
No,
know?
100%. And also, no, I get it. It's like it's a sense of
I'm
like
not saying there are anything wrong with your hands.
I'm like we're
By
gonna
the way.
fight.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna upset a lot of people with that one.
No, 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 because this is your preference. Like everyone has
And I'm a
preferences.
married woman, okay? And she gets her nails done. Everything's good.
I'm like, now I need to like get my nails painted. I'm like, fuck. No, but I am the same way. Like seeing someone that has I don't have to if I see someone's nails and they're pretty, but they're like
Yeah,
they don't have a color on them, they
bare.
just still look I can still get with that. I'm like, okay.
Totally.
But it is the sense of like cleanliness and like just putting yourself
Yes.
together.
If a hand is dirty, like
Ugh,
what about the rest? Like there's too many ifs.
there's way too many ifs. No,
Yeah.
seriously. Okay, ick or turn on if they are possessive.
It's like an ick for me. My
Oh,
thing is like there's like a time and a place, I feel like, for everything. And I feel like possessiveness like can get like toxic very quickly. I'm my own person. No one owns me. So yeah, I feel like that's like a bit of an ick for me.
okay, period. Ick or turn on if every time they drink, they have to smoke a cig.
Ick. Hate cigarettes with a fucking burning passion.
I love how blunt you are. You're just like, don't.
They stink. I don't want to stink like that. I don't want to kiss that. No. Ick.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you, girl. Ick or turn on if all they wear is Crocs. That's all they wear.
That's an ick. That's an ick for me. I'm sorry, Croc people. Like, there's a time and a place, like comfy slides. Get it. I get it. All the time? No.
Yeah, yeah, no, I get it. It's kind of like when people wear like flip flops all the time. I'm like, you know, okay, like that's great for you, but like
Right.
let's switch it up a
Cover
little
your
bit.
toes. What if you like covered your toes?
Yeah, maybe cover your toes sometimes. Yeah. Ick or turn on if they are like overly vocal in bed, like dirty talk to the max overly. Well, I shouldn't say overly as if it's a bad thing because some people may like it, but
No, that's an ick for me. There's like a perfect amount of everything, and overly, I'd be like, are you faking? Like, what's
yeah,
happening?
no, yeah,
Is this real?
yeah. Since like whenever it is overly, it's like, yeah, are you trying to like
Just
convince?
feels performative.
Yeah,
Yeah, like I don't know.
yeah, yeah. No, I am the same way. I get it. Ick or turn on if they aren't into receiving, but they enjoy giving.
I like we are always say the people who are like top and bottom, like that's crazy. Like I'm like such a verse. Like I can't
Yeah,
imagine just being like, no, I'll never do it again. Like
yeah.
I couldn't do it.
No, I
But like if it works if you find the person who matches your dynamic, then fuck yeah, I'm so happy for you.
no, I'm the same way. I get it. I also feel like it's like if you're just like a little pillow princess, like good for you, period. Like as you should.
Yeah.
But
Lay down, queen.
yeah, like dear, like yeah. But it's also like I feel like that could get kind of boring, you know?
Yeah, I
But
definitely for it is not for me,
yeah,
but for the people who's like someone who's like a hard top, you find a hard bottom, great. You guys are a match made in heaven, and I hope that you have a great time.
exactly. That's what I was just about to say. Because it could work, you know? Pillow
Yeah,
princess.
it will work for those people, yeah, for sure. For me, no.
For me, absolutely
Not for this
not.
girl.
That's the end. That's the end of the podcast. So I just wanted to thank you for coming on. Hopefully those questions weren't too weird.
No, if you, I feel like my social media followers know I'm on there just absolutely outing myself with everything. So
Okay. No, yeah, and that's the vibe I got. So that's why I threw those questions at you, but you know. But yeah, I just want to thank you for coming on. I know, you know, you're busy, you know, so I just want to thank you. Your dog is so cute.
just always like she's making a little bed right now.
Is it a boy or a girl?
It's a girl, Paisley. She's the OG tit. That's what my followers call her, tit.
Period. We love her.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Oh my God, this was very fun.
Good. Sorry it kind of ran over. Like really, I'm sorry.
Oh my God, don't be sorry. I'm a yapper. I love talking about myself. I'm a Leo, so I can do this all day.
Um, okay, and so for my listeners, I post every Monday. I have some cool people coming on soon, so stay tuned. All right, bye.